But I'm going to try to ease your tension a little bit and show you that it's not that bad to put these in. So today we're going to be talking about what to do if you hear your toilet bowl running constantly. Mine is so loud you can probably hear it right now. First thing to do is to figure out what it is that's causing it to run. Let's take the top off and look down inside. Okay, the top is now off and you can definitely hear it running now. There's two reasons why your water will continue to run. One problem could be the flapper, which is that red piece in the very bottom. The other problem it could be would be this fill valve. And here's how you can tell whether it's the flapper or the fill valve. Let's give it a flush. Okay, the water is rising. Just wait till it gets up to the top of this drain right here. And then this is going to tell us. See how you can see the water going over the top of that drain and continue to go in? That means that it's probably not the flapper. The flapper may be leaking slightly, but the culprit in this case is going to be the fill valve. If you open the tank up, you stick your hand down here in the water and you press that flapper valve down with your finger, and you see the water going over that fast, over that drain, it's not the flapper. It's going to be your fill valve. So here's another way you can tell it's your fill valve. Stick your hand down and press up on that float with your finger. Make sure that the float is all the way up, and it is, so that confirms. And here's one other thing you can do to confirm that it's the fill valve that's causing the problem and not the flapper. Let's go down here and turn off the water. See that valve? Just turn it off. Come back up to your tank, and if the noise has gone away, like right now, and that water level is holding firm, that means that there's nothing wrong with the flapper. Because even with the water turned off, if that flapper was leaking, you'd still hear it leaking a little bit. Okay, so it's pretty obvious that I need a fill valve, and I have chosen to use this fill valve. We're going to install this fill valve on my toilet to fix the problem. We're going to do a quick review on this product itself, and I'm going to tell you why I like it. Let's take it out of the box and just see what's on the inside. Okay, we got some instructions, of course, which will help you install it. And then we have the fill valve itself and a couple of hoses. Now, after I install this fill valve on my toilet, I'm going to go over why I chose this one. Let's go ahead and install it first, because this is what most people are apprehensive about, and they're a little bit scared of doing it themselves. But I'm going to try to ease your tension a little bit and show you that it's not that bad to put these in. Okay, the first thing to do is to shut that water back off. Let's go ahead and give the commode a flush. Then hold your valve down just to see if we can get the last remaining bit of water out of the tank. Okay, now you're still going to have some water in the bottom of your tank, probably about 3/4 of an inch or so. We're going to need to get that out so it don't spill all over the floor. And the best way to do that is just take you some paper towels. It might take you a half a roll of paper towels. You can use a sponge too, but I'm just going to use what I've got. I've got some paper towels here. And all we're going to do is we're just going to mop this water up. This is the messy part, but it's only water. And now what you can actually do is take it and use it to transfer water into your bowl like that. Okay, now we got the water out of it, and now when we take that old filler valve off, the water won't run all over the floor on us. Okay, now to take the old one off, it's very simple. You just turn it counterclockwise, just like so. And just give this little pipe a little wiggle. You're going to get a little bit of water dripping out. That's all right. We got almost all of it out of that tank. Otherwise, it'll be pouring out of there when you start wiggling this line. Okay, so now we have to remove that nut right there. It's a little flat plastic nut, so we can remove the filler valve. And chances are you're going to need a pair of pliers, because on these old ones, there is nothing to grab onto with your fingers right here. So that's where you got to use a pair of pliers. Okay, just a standard pair of pliers will do. Nothing fancy. I'm going to grab a hold of that plastic nut, and we're going to turn it counterclockwise. And then once you get it loose enough, you can take your fingers and spin it the rest of the way out. It's pretty easy to take it all the way down from this point. And we're just going to let it fall, just like that. Okay, let's go back to the top side of the tank now. And now your fill valve will come right out. Give it a little wiggle. And there it goes. Now you can see the importance of getting that water out of the bottom of your tank, because if not, it will go all on the floor. Okay, the next step is to take this nut off of the new filler valve and put it on the water line down there. So let's do that. Take this nut right here off the old one that you put your pair of pliers on and take it all the way up the top. Take it off. Take that nut off of the new valve and work it right back down. Just let it lay right there. Okay. From the top of the tank, we're going to take our new valve and drop it right in that hole right there. And you will feel it seat right down. All right, make sure that the valve comes down and sits right back on your water line. Take the new nut and now you just turn it clockwise right onto the threads of that new filler valve until it goes all the way up to the top. With one hand, hold the top, and with the other hand, tighten that nut hand tight on the bottom. Okay, that's nice and tight. Next thing to do is take your water line and screw that back on to the bottom of your new filler valve. Just like so. No tools needed, you just do it hand tight. Okay, done and done. Okay, you got two hoses in your kit. We're going to be working with the longest one first. Okay, that little opening at the bottom of our new filler valve is where the water is going to come out of when we turn the water back on. Okay, set that line down in the bottom of your tank, and it looks like we're going to have to cut a few inches off of my new line. Every tank's going to be slightly different, depending upon how wide the tank is. All right, let's take this out, and I'm going to trim just a few inches off with a pair of scissors. Okay, so I got mine cut. It cuts very easily with a pair of scissors, or you could use a little razor knife. So here's a tip for you. If you take the end of this pipe and run it underwater and get it wet, it'll go on the end of that fitting a lot easier. So let's do that. Okay, so back at my tank, I've just laid my line down into the bottom, and now simply we're just going to slide it onto the end of our fitting there. Alright, I've got it started, but I'm going to have to put the camera down because I need two hands. Okay, I got it on there. It was kind of a tight squeeze, but it's got to be kind of tight so water won't get past that fitting. Water runs down that hose right there as it fills up your tank, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. Okay, now for the shorter hose. Okay, first, this end goes right there. Pretty simple. The other end, with the clip on it, you can take that plastic fitting off of the end and stick it right back in the original hole in the drain, or you can just clip it onto the edge of your drain, whichever one you want to do. I simply chose to take that fitting out, and I'm just going to put it back in the original hole, just like so. Okay, and now the moment of truth. Let's turn our water back on. Okay, make sure there's no water dribbling down. If it is, you may just have to snug this up a little bit. Okay, and let's give her a flush. And let's watch what happens here. Everything looks like it's working like it should. Okay, and when you're done, if the water doesn't shut off, you'll have to play with this screw right here, and what it does is it actually moves the float up and down. You're just going to have to run it up and down until it shuts off. That's how you get your float level correct. And after using that screw to adjust the float, if you still can't get it to the level where it'll shut off, you can adjust the height of the tower itself up and down. That is what that valve at the base of the unit is for. You just have to press it and the whole filler valve will move up and down for you. Mine was actually perfect right out of the box. I did not have to adjust the height of the filler valve itself. I just had to run this screw up and down just a little bit to move the float to where it needed to be so it would actually shut off the water when it got to the height of this drain. But if need be, this can adjust anywhere from 9 inches all the way up to 14 inches. So now we're done with the repair. I'm going to give you the 5 reasons I went with this unit to fix my toilet. First one is that this is totally DIY. Do it yourself. Anyone can do this. The only tools I had to have was the pair of pliers to take the old one off. If I ever have to replace this again, I won't even have to have any tools to take this one off. The second reason that I went with this filler valve is that funny looking pipe on the bottom. And the reason why is this. When you flush that toilet, what it does is water is actually coming out of that pipe in all directions. It has holes along the side, and then of course it shoots out the end pipe too. You can kind of see that little whirlpool going down there. That's where the water is coming out the end of the pipe. The benefit of that is it stirs up the water in the tank every time that it flushes right there at the bottom of the tank. And that's where the sediment is. And that'll keep that flapper from getting all crudded up where I have to replace it so much. And if you live in an area that has really hard water, that system is going to benefit you more and more. The third thing I like about this unit is this valve right here can be adjusted. As water comes in from the bottom pipe, it also comes in from this top pipe. And on most factory units, it's just going in full force when it really didn't have to. I've got mine cranked at about half, and then that way it will shoot water down to rinse the bowl out, but you can throttle it down so it doesn't need to be wide open. By keeping this valve at about halfway or even slightly lower, that's going to save you on your water bill every month. The fourth thing that I like about this filler valve and why I went with it is because if that flapper does ever get to the point where it's leaking and the water level starts to drop, it's built in to be loud enough that you can hear it. So if the water level starts to trickle down and the filler valve clicks on just a little bit, it's designed to be loud so you can hear it. There's been many times where my flapper has been leaking and I don't know it until months down the road because it's been so quiet I can't hear it. So I like that audible warning if the water level ever starts to go down just a little bit between uses. I really like that. That's pretty neat. I've never seen anything quite like that. And the fifth reason I went with this is because it's pretty much universal. It'll go on almost any toilet unless it's a really old one. So you can stock up on these. Then that way, if you have other toilets in your house that develop a problem with their filler valve, you'll be ready to go. You can have a few of these on hand. So there you go, repair complete. So I hope this review has helped you in some small way. I hope it's given you some confidence to replace the filler valve on your own toilet. I'm really pleased with this unit. It went on very easy and I love the benefits of it. I'm sure it's going to last me for a long time, and I do plan on stocking up on these, so I'll be ready so when my other toilets go out, I'll have everything right ready to go for it. Thanks for watching.